Today's date is February 24. We're moving along in this so-called Negro History Month. It should be the European History Month, but let's keep it like it is because we all are not ready for the next level of black consciousness. We're going to talk a little bit tonight on some of the outside interferences of our history, or better yet, the history of the United States. You know, the more I research, the more, I don't want to say angry I get, because I can't get any more angry than I have been, but the more revealing it has become of the trickology that these individuals has placed us in. And I have to admit that it was a good move for them to do it, in that they definitely wanted to put us asleep so that they could do what they're doing. Now, there was a lot of bloodshed, a lot. I don't think there's a record of the bloodshed. And I'm talking about 500,000 to maybe 2 million slaughtered people of color in United States, probably from 1800 to 1900. All done under the guise of building a white supremacist nation that would be ran by democracy. Now, I've been, for the last couple of weeks, well, all this month, I've been dissecting the history that I was taught about the United States and how far it is away from truth, just truth itself. I'm not saying that everything that I'm bringing to you has chronological or have been, yes, I am. It has been chronologically labeled and it has been dissected to any specific area that he told us what went on. And when you go in and look at those particular areas as to what was going on during the time frame that he set up, you'll see if there's a difference as broad as night and day. So tonight, we're going to explore an area that I am sure, there's no doubt in my mind, that you have no idea. You may not even believe it. And maybe I should say, if you are a devout religious person, you may not want to hear the program tonight, because what I'm going to reveal might shake, rock, change your beliefs in your spirit, in your religious beliefs, in the system, that whatever system you may be in. They needed to figure out a way to build a nation that would only produce resources. They don't want any back talk, no questions. The only thing in history that has ever produced a system like that I know of would have to go back to Plato when he wrote the Republic. And Plato's Republic was a beautiful writing, but once you read it, you realize that it is totally impossible to put in place because once you add humanity to it, it all looks good on paper. But once you add humanity to the project of the Republic, you're going to run into some problems. Well, the Greek attempted it. The only government that tried it that I know of, and I don't know everything, but the only one that I knew of was the Greek. And they gave up on it because once they got it in place, and as long as all of the players were on the same page, you had a democracy. But as soon as there was any disgruntlement or any disagreement, you ran into a major problem. So they laid the foundation for all of the nations of the European world that democracy can never work. Now, what they did do was set up several different forms of government, and those forms of government were listed and labeled as Republican, as autocratic. I'm going to bring it up probably in the second half of the program. I'll bring up those governments that are all over the world that are socialism, communism, that type of thing. The one that is really a detriment to humanity is the I can't pronounce it. I'll bring it up during the break and I'll show it to you. But if you read the 14 principles of fascism, you can look that up right now, the 14 principles of fascism. And they will give you the structure of fascism. And if you just change the title to the 14 principles of democracy, you will see that we are living in a fascist government, not a democracy. Now, I want to make it clear, the findings of Plato and the findings of the Greek government or philosophers, because Plato, Socrates, they all came out of Greece. So I don't know all the Aristotle and all of them so-called heavyweight, European heavyweights that they created in historical revisionism. Okay? They said that. I didn't say it. They said that. And they said that their forms of government could be used to set up different governments. Now, came into America, it was decided as early as 1215 when they put the Europeans under the Magna Carta. When one of those kings, George, don't get me to calling them off, I don't know him. You look them up for yourself because I don't really give a damn. But I know that the Magna Carta was 1215. And the Europeans were all placed under the Magna Carta. They didn't like it because they could not express themselves the way their nature and their culture wanted them to. And there was a reason for that. And that reason is alive today. And I'll give you a hint as to what it is, and that is they cannot reproduce in their images. Now, we can take that to the biblical perspective. We can take it to the industrial perspective. We can take it to the social perspective. Their problem was they had to know there had to be a roadmap laid for them in order for them to exist. They could not exist on their own. And everyone out there knows about the so-called black, plague of the late 1500s, early 1600s in England, when over half the population died. And the reason that they died was from diseases that they labeled cholera, TB, different kinds of stuff. Cholera is bad enough. But the problem with the disease was all they had to do was clean themselves, wash their nasty asses, which they refused to do or didn't know to do. You know, Malcolm said it best. They eat raw meat and climb trees at night and howl at the moon. Take that any way you want to. Malcolm used to lay it out just like it was. I can see that. And they knew if they were going to exist, they had to be a leech on existing environments around the world and take what they saw, learn, and then take what they saw. So when the opportunity presented itself to go to the new world, which technically would be the old world, because everything started in the northern hemisphere, not in the east as they tried to make it out to be, but in the northern continents. When they saw an opportunity to spread themselves, they wanted to build a government that they could live happily ever after under the structure of democracy. And in order to make democracy work, you had to have certain things in place. We get into United States of America, Inc. It was really, truly founded on racism, white supremacy. White supremacy. White supremacy. And it has never changed. It has been disguised. It has been hidden. It has been overlooked. It has been, you name it. But the core of United States of America, Inc., INC, was white supremacy. Now, the first thing they had to do was set up a system where they could produce subjects, quote unquote, laborers, quote unquote, workers, quote unquote, slaves. There had to be a process of slavery in order for democracy to work. Okay? Now, the second ingredient that was, now all of these are main ingredients, and I'm trying to do it in sequel because they use the 1868 amendment of the 14th Amendment to create an abundance of slaves because they declared by their decree. Now, listen carefully. They always got away with that bullshit of declaring something that they didn't have control over or never did own. The Pope and that Catholic Church did it when they first started. They declared the earth belonged to them. The Queen of England today made 1663, I think it was, when they set up this system of the birth certificate and the Cessecue trust. She declared that all inhabitants in her dominion, she declared them dead. And she went on to say that once they became alive, or once they rose up, she would give them back everything she took from them. Now, we could do a whole show on that. But you cannot declare a slave anything else but a person that is dead. They are in a comatose, as Louis Farrakhan would say, they were in a shallow grave. Okay? A shallow grave. All black Americans are in a shallow grave. Have no idea what they're doing. None whatsoever. Probably don't even understand what I'm talking about. However, they needed the subject, so immediately after they set up the corporation, they declared all persons walking on the northern continent of North America subjects to the 14th Amendment, and they were declared citizens of, or better yet, beneficiaries of the corporation known as United States of America, Inc. Next, they needed to establish the system of white supremacy, so they set up a armed police force. A armed police force. Now, it didn't start as an arm. I think the beginning, there was what they call the Pinkerton Corporation. They did all the dirty work for United States, Inc. I'm not sure about that being the only one, but I do know that they worked for the corporations. And they would go out and steal, rob, take gold, silver, any process that they wanted. They would figure out ways to get it. The presidents of these 13 colonies of the so-called United States, Inc. would set up declarations to give them the power to go out and do what they wanted to do. Now, that was not easy because the government of North America was always here. There was a government always here. And this new government, known as United States, Inc., had to figure out how they could get around, and what's that word they use? Suburban, make them subjects to the higher government. Now, I told you several weeks ago, we talked about the First Continental Congress that they labeled First Continental Congress. Never told you what went on. But I had proof, and I read it here on the air, and I could do it again. And I have books to prove this, that I got it from a book, let's put it that way, that the first meeting of the so-called United States of America was known as the First Continental Congress, and it was in September of 1774. They met with two major items on the agenda. Number one, how was they going to fight England? Or, now this thing, how they were going to charter themselves away from England in order to become England. History shows or said they pulled themselves away, but we know from the taxes and the government and the so-called New Deal, and even what I'm going to tell you tonight about Pope Pius IX, that they really got closer to England after the so-called American Revolution. And if you study the American Revolution, they have pictures of the quote-unquote defeated army of England, redcoats, walking back to England, New York, and had weapons and guns and everything else they needed. Whoever heard of winning a war and letting the enemy stay in power with weapons? But that's another discovery. You need to go into that and explore that, because every avenue of exploration brings on a whole new process of this so-called lying-ass European who laid out this so-called American history. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. Now, there's got to be a better word. Let's don't call it a lie. Let's call it half-truths. And they called it, or the day I found that good old word I like to use, which is historical. I can't never think what I'm supposed to say. When they go back in history and change it, I talk about it all the time. My mind ain't clicking like it should be today. It'll come to me. Revisionism. Revisionism is the word I want. That's the word I want. Revisionism. All of it was created on paper with a pen. All of it. Even the so-called slave a market that they talk about so powerful and brought in so many slaves. I'm not telling you that slaves were not brought in from abroad, because Lincoln brought in a whole tribe of slaves out of Nigeria to fight with the North against the South. So if they take a picture of that and show you black is getting off a ship and say they were slaves, how are you going to know the difference? There was a tribe in Africa that was brought over here. The Igbo tribe were brought over here to fight us and kill us. Lincoln had a process. He was in charge of a process called ethnic cleansing. That's worse than genocide. Lincoln, stinking ass Lincoln, that we all black folks know about Abraham Lincoln, who set us free. Lord help us. Nothing is further from the truth. His job was what he did. And Saturday coming up, I'm going to have a guest out of Minnesota, and we're going to talk about what Lincoln did and United States of America did in territories in the West, the Northwest, where the mineral rights were abundant, and he sent troops during the Civil War, before and during the Civil War, up to those countries and just wiped out all the inhabitants that was on the land. And they were on the land because they owned the land, and they were told by the generals, the troops were told by the generals, or better yet, Lincoln and the presidents told the generals to kill them. Don't run them off the land, because they'll come back. Or they'll take us to court, and we will always lose in court, because we don't have any business being here. Europeans are not supposed to be on this land, and they definitely cannot own anything on this land legally. Why? Because they live and come from Europe over there. When has it ever been a country across the water, such as Spain, have a Chinese president? France have a Russian president. Not only have you never heard of it, you don't even hear people talk about it. In the United States, we done had everything under the sun. Every one of them peckerwoods come from a different country across the water. Every one of these white folks in the United States have papers for them to be here. Every one of them. None of us have papers. Now, they can call us anything in revisionism. Slaves got off the ship, all that old crazy crap. But we were not even on the books of United States of America until approximately 1950. I know, you don't believe it. And I'm not going to argue with you about it. They had no idea who we were and where we were and how many of us it was. They had to set up programs to draw us in to United States of America, Inc. And once you went in, you signed up to be a slave or an inhabitant as a 14th Amendment citizen. I know it's hard for you to even see that. It's hard to even think that way. You listen to these damn Negro pundits, these civil rights all-stars, them bastards. Then you got them jackleg-ass preachers. Then we go into these sororities, these fraternities, and all of these bougie damn Negroes who all are on the agenda, payroll, and benefit package of United States of America. and they all cater to United States of America, and their job is set up by United States of America. They all have particular specific income jobs, and as long as they play the game, they can stay in their positions. Man, oh man, oh man. Yes, yes, yes. Believe me when I tell you, we have been hoodwinked. We are just nothing but walking mummies. Have no idea what we're doing here. None. I asked a couple of people the other day, why is it that every person on earth, except the American Negro, have a nationality and a country that is attached to the nationality but us? Why is that? And we are at least 50 million strong right here in the United States. At least. And we don't have a nationality. And every time you read the indigenous rights of human rights of indigenous people, the first thing they say, everybody on this planet has a right to a nationality. So that tells me not only do we not have one, our dumbass leaders don't even want us to ask for one. And don't tell me Negro is a nationality, because I don't know where Negroville or Negro, I have no idea where that land is. Colored, black, Negro, nigger, African, African American, Afro-American, where are those places? And they have to label us. We are not given the right as 14th Amendment citizens to tell the government who we are until we declare ourselves not 14th Amendment citizens. And all you got to do is send in a declaration, get it notarized, send it to every punk you know that you think's going to give you a problem. Chief of police, the mayor, the governor, the attorney general, the secretary of state, the bar association, the judge venue commission. Send them all copies. It's over with. Once you get it notarized. If you want to go a step further, take the document after you get it notarized to the Register of Deeds and have it certified. Now, I know you Moors want to call in right now and say, Ron, you can't do that at the Register of Deeds because they only will certify property. And I would like to say to them, you learned your lesson, but you only got half of it. And I'm not here to argue with it, but I'll tell you one time. The notary comes from the Register of Deeds. I didn't say take property down there. I didn't say take your house and all. I said take the declaration, notice of declaration that everybody can kiss your ass, get it notarized, and certify the notary. Authenticate the Register of Deeds at the Register of Deeds who that notary was, and they were bona fide. You can go online right now and put in notary and read it, the power of a notary. Then look and see what it takes for you to become a notary. Every family should have a notary. Every family. I think the fee is less than $25 to become a notary. No, you want to run to the bank, run down to real estate company, let somebody charge you $10, $15, $20 to get a piece of paper notarized, and you don't know what you're doing because you don't even know if that notary is a bona fide notary. They could have expired. They could have been penalized. You don't know. That's why you take it after you get it notarized downtown to the Registry of Deeds on the second floor of Alexander Young Building. And just tell them you want to have the notary certified. Now, let's get back to the day's program because we're working our way into that dirty, lying, no good bastard known as Pius the Ninth. Y'all need to read about that punk. Everybody wanted to kill him. I don't know if he must have been a madman. I don't know. When I started reading it, I just could not believe that they would put something. I've been in the Vatican. I've seen the Pope 3 times, twice over there in Italy and once in Hamtramck, as if that's a big deal. I don't give a damn about that cat. But I've seen him. I saw him in Hamtramck when I was driving my milk truck. I said, oh, there he is, my man. What up, dude? Kept on driving. Hell with him. Over there, I saw him twice in that great big old thing, that big old round basilica, basilicas, whatever they call that thing, an outdoor arena. Saw him twice over there. But anyway, it ain't no big deal. I'm not saying it to try to make something out of it. I'm just saying that if you look at that place, the value of that place, that Vatican, it's just like downtown Detroit. It's another country. The Vatican is it's a country in itself. It's got its own army, got its own resources because they're stealing all over the world. I went into that room where, I wish I could name them. I don't know what that mess was. But when they talked about that Michelangelo painting that crap, what is it? Yes, Sistine Chapel, whatever that thing is. I was amazed. But then I researched and found out black people did that. All Michelangelo did was went up there and did a paint job, repainted it. Or did a finish job on it. But I'm telling you, whoever did it, it's the most beautiful thing I ever seen. And those statues, Lord, made out of marble, wow. And them suckers stand 20 foot high. Moses, Noah, you remember all them old people, they're all there, all of it. Anyway, you would think after you see that at least they would be near the up and up. But they don't have no business doing what they do either. He declares himself the only word of God on earth. And that's their business. Don't get me wrong. I'm not challenging. That's good. Well, stay over there. But no, he going to write a bull. And you need to look up the definition of a bull. B-U-L-L. It's called a bull. You need to look it up. And you will see it's only a proclamation. He wake up with a hair in his ass and say, I'm going to write something that's going to go all over the world. And it works because he's a pope, just like Lincoln. Woke up one day and said he's going to Emancipation Proclamation and free slaves. That's what he said, but he never did it. Y'all hear me? Y'all need to understand this kind of madness. And you need to wake up because all of it's been given to you, but you didn't challenge what they told you. I quit school because they told me I was the dumbest piece of crap ever come through there. And I said, cool, I'm out of here. I am out of here. Now I went back, got my diploma and all that old crap. But I only did that because I went into the military and I wanted to get some college. I thought that would be an avenue of freedom. Found out that wasn't shit either. A lot of y'all out there sitting out there with them degrees, bachelor's, master's, and PhDs, can't find a job nowhere. And then accept the excuse from them lying punks in Washington why you can't find a job and all of their children are working. Because you know you the last one hired and the first one fired. And now that we are exploring the mulatto dilemma, whoa, see, y'all forgot about that. That mulatto package is the most critical package in the history of Black America. And the Iroquois Confederation, one of the largest confederations in America, the most powerful confederation in America, and seemingly the most intelligent, educated in America, who literally lived the life and structure of Islam, do not mix your blood with other than people of your own kind. The first Civil War, or better yet, the original Civil War, was fought because there was too many mulattoes. The North was literally marrying across the line like 40 going north. And guess what, y'all? I'm getting calls from you listeners talking about your families. And I know it's true that y'all got some white folks in your family who are really mulattoes who do not mix with the original family. See, a mulatto is I'm not mad at a mulatto, but I'm looking at how they used the mulatto because they wanted to mix the blood so that they would have a original spy. You know, sometimes you look at some of these movies they tell you about. I was looking at NCI the other night, and they wanted to find out some very high-tech information. And Abby down in the lab said, I know a guy that can do that. She got the information, and then they wanted to know how did she do it and how much did they owe them for doing it. She said he wants a cap with NCIS on it. He wanted to ride in one of the cars and let the sirens blow. And then she said he wanted to go to the firing range and shoot one of them 9mm SIGs. And everybody laughed. Said, what you got, a kindergarten? He said he's an 11-year-old genius that they found, that the FBI, CIA, NSA found. They took him away from his mammy, took him to the place where he's supposed to be. He works there every day. And they had to find a job for the mama because the boy can't drive. He's only 11 years old. So she is his chaperone. Now, take that process. I know you heard me. And now I'm going to show you how I can set up, back in the 1860s now, I'm going to set up a human process for DNA. And I'll be perfectly correct every time I say it. I'm a white European. My wife is white. My daddy's white. I come out of Ireland. I'm a Peckerwood. I get my daughter to marry have sex with one of them old black slaves we got out there. Go give him some. Or the wife, they don't give a shit. Send the wife out there. When that baby comes, it may take 3 deliveries, but one of them babies is going to be blonde hair, blue eyed, and pale skin. But the man knows the baby is a nigger because the daddy was a nigger. That's some heavy stuff. Now, as that child grows up, they're going to be mixed and matched, so the daddy going to take care of the child, keep him with white kids, and then when he becomes let's say it's a male. I know the law, and I said I was going to look that up in Black Law's Dictionary, but the law says that's still on the books, whatever the mama was, the child has to be. So I got to reverse that and say he sent his son to the cotton field and had sex with a black female. Now, when that baby comes, 2 or 3 down the line, it don't matter. He going to take that baby away, put him over here, and raise him as a peckerwood, but then he going to call him in and tell him what he wants him to do. I want you to go back over into Louisville, set up a business, but now that you know you black, I want you to play both sides of the fence. Every time you see a mulatto, I want you to call me and tell me who that mulatto is. Because you're going to be with that son of a gun, and he going to try to act like he white. You sitting there looking at him, you playing white. Now I got DNA on my enemy in competition, because once I tell the public that he's black, they going to take everything he got away from him because the law's backing up that son of a bitch. God damn it. They do it every day. They do it today. That's why I told you about that 11-year-old. They did it to Reggie Lewis, the boy that was on Wall Street that bought Beatrice Foods. He worked with a white boy named Milken. Him and a white boy created junk bonds. European come in, couldn't figure out what they was doing. They was buying everything, didn't have a dollar, but they was using junk bonds. FBI went in there and found the law, told that white boy, we're going to give you 300 years in the slammer if you don't tell us what you're doing, because you did this, you did that. I know what I did. Somebody was calling me, and I knocked it off. I apologize. Y'all need to tell me when I start to put this thing over top, because anytime I touch it, it'll mute out. I'm sorry. Okay. And I was screaming too loud anyway, so don't get mad at me. Y'all know I get excited. But, you know, as I do this thing, it falls in place. A lot of times I don't even have to read the whole article. But I got one today I'm going to read and deal with when I get to Pope, that old Pope. And we're going to work with that punk. And I'm going to show you what they did to us during 1855. Let's do it another way. Let's take 20 years, 1850 to 1870. They killed over 2 million Negroes. No, 2 million people of color. They killed some mulattoes in there, people of color. They killed some Indians, people of color. And they killed a whole lot of blackies, a whole lot of old black Joes, because they had to set up areas of ethnic cleansing. It's no coincidence that areas such as Minnesota has a very low population of black folks. I understand. Well, we're going to talk about it Saturday. This brother that did some extensive research. He's done some extensive research on some certain things that went on up in that area. Because last week we talked about Fort Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore. And I was told that there were Olmec heads, big old heads. You know them big old heads. They was up in that area. Why would the peckerwood drive out in the wilderness and chip into a mountain and put some peckerwoods up there? Who ever heard of such madness? What was that about? What did it cost the government? What was the value of him going out there? There's nobody around. Rush. Brother just laid it on me. Rush, R-U-S-H, Moore, M-O-O-R. Olmec heads was out there. They couldn't destroy them. They found that out when Napoleon, back in the early 40s, got into Africa trying to steal everything and found out that big old Sphinx looked like Ron March. He said, that looked like Ron March. and they brought them cannons up and started blasting the face of the Sphinx. I'm standing there looking at the Sphinx. Only damaging little bitty bullet holes, like, because that thing is huge. And them little balls of the cannon just hit certain areas. Guess what areas they were shooting at? The lips, the nose. God damn it. Come on, y'all. And now they give you honor. I don't know how they come up with this madness, but the 21 gun salute that they do at funerals are honored by the 21 gun salute. They take 7 rifles and shoot each rifle 3 times. That's what Napoleon did. He got 21 bullets, cannon balls blasted in the face of the Sphinx. I'm telling you, it's something else. All right, we're at the top of the hour. Let me take one of these calls, and then I'm going to get the second call when I come back in. Okay, caller 7994, area code 763. Do you have a comment or a question?
Yeah, I got a comment. Napoleon also went to Africa and traveled down the Nile and grabbed one of those big heads and put it on the ship. And on the way back, it was during the rainy season. The Nile flooded, the ship sank, and he left it in the middle of the Nile because he said he'd come back next year and get it. And that's when he got back to Spain, he died. He never got back to get it. And that was from the book. That was from the book, The Rape of Egypt.
The Rape of Egypt.
They got a book. I got a book called The Rape of Egypt, and it talks about all those things that you just ran.
Now, didn't they take a lot of stuff out of the pyramids and took them into the museums of Europe and put them in secret places?
Only certain people have the right to go see it. They have all of our artifacts. Yes. Napoleon stole all those artifacts and put it in Spain and put it in France, and only certain archaeologists and people with credentials that they approve of have the right to go see those things.
Yes. Yes. Lord. Lordy, Miss Claudia. Yeah, we tearing the cover off of them today, brother.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So when you ran that, I said, well, let me call in real quick. real quick, like.
All right. Let me keep listening because I know you're going to have something for me later. And I'm going to take a break now. And this caller, 314-0440. Hang on. Hang on. Let's take that caller now. He's been on there waiting. Let me take him now. We'll see what he's got. Yes, caller, 0440, area code 314. You have a question or comment?
Hey, peace and love.
Yeah.
I just had a comment.
Yeah,
Ron. Yeah, you also know that the Vatican has a vault, like a mile vault under each major Catholic building. Like in Chicago, they have vaults.
Yeah.
They keep administrative paperwork, artifacts, historical things that keep us from it. And then you can go and check it out.
He's one of those chapels. Yes, they're built on a vortex, I understand. And that movie, was that Uptown Saturday Night with Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby when they went in there because the mafia hid all the paperwork downstairs in that vault and they got that information out of there? Did you see that movie? They made a comedy out of it.
Correct. Yep. And I want you, the viewers, to also look up for a word called Mochua. That word, I'm just saying it, just spell it backwards. It means automobile. And find out the connections in that. Check that out. And you'll find out the connections up in the north of what they did. So they was very inspired by the melanated people up in the north in that area. See, everybody
Wow.
always talk about just the South. It's something about that area there that they dealt with because most of the melanated was rebellious up there. Like they always talk about Haiti, but there were some of the most rebellious carbonated or melanated people up there, up in the north, in Minnesota and all that.
Yes. That brother going to talk about it next week. He was telling me that up there in Duluth, Minnesota, they had a lot of lynchings up there, and Lincoln sent a lot of troops up there to kill those, quote unquote, Dakota and Cheyenne Indians to get them off the land, kill them.
Correct.
Unbelievable.
Correct.
All right, brother, let me take this break, and I'll be back. Stay with me, and we'll get back with you a little later, all right?
No problem.
All right, good people. We're going to take a quick break, and what we're going to do is come back. I'm going to pull up. We're going to deal with Pope Pius for sure, but I'm going to pull up the daggum 14 principles of fascism also. So if you want to follow me on that, pull that up. All right, we gone. We out of here. Back in the saddle again. I did get a chance to pull up the 14 characteristics of fascism. The 14 characteristics of fascism. Let me make sure we cut the music off. Yep, music's gone. Okay. Yep. All right. Now, we don't need to go through the whole thing, but I would appreciate everyone out there to look at least go find it, because this is what the government process. Oh, I know. I was supposed to do. Wait a minute. I'll get it done. Hold on 1 second. Let me check the engineer before we get out. Andre, I need you to pull up the governments, all of the governments. Democracy, communism. That's what I needed. I can't pronounce all of them. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. All right. Now, so anyway, we're looking at the 14 principles, and I'm going to briefly tap them. I would appreciate you going to look, because I know everybody say, Ron, you're the craziest man. Yeah, buddy, there they are. Yep, there they are. Mm-hmm. And, yep. And if you take a look at it, you can read it for yourself at a different time, because we're not going to have time to deal with it, because I'm definitely going to move into Pope Pius IX. I haven't forgotten that. We definitely got to deal with him. So I want you to go take a look at the 14 characteristics of fascism. And if we're not living in that, we have to be the craziest people on earth, or you're in total denial. And when I say that, I think of a caller we had a while back that called in, was trying to challenge, there you go, types of governments, there you go, that was trying to challenge me, and he was literally trying to maintain an excuse as if what I was saying, he never said I was lying. He was trying to overpower me with some madness. So we're not even going to go there. So let's put it like this. Number one, powerful and continuing nationalism. That's what you get from your television. You talk about they got the USAA insurance programs. They got thank you, Dad, thank you, Mama, for all the bullshit. And he said, thanks to the military. They got the football games of the Army. They got them all out. All that kind of stuff. They want to make sure they promote nationalism. And that's the name that they always use for number one. Number two, they want a disdain for the recognition of human rights. They want to stay away from human rights. They want to stay away from the process of making you believe and or think of human rights. They don't want any part of that. Number 3, identification of enemies, scapegoats as a unifying cause. They continuously throw in your face. It's either Osama bin Laden, it's either ISIS, it's either the other ones, Al Qaeda. All of those, which one? Taliban. All of those names that they keep throwing at you to keep fear in your heart. All of that's a game. These people have never done anything to you. If you go out in Dearborn and no, don't go to Dearborn. Go to the shopping centers in the Fairlane Mall area, Ford Road and I-39, Southfield Expressway. You're going to see more Middle Easterns than you'll ever see in your life. And yet you go home, they're calling them terrorists and communists, and you, the biggest dummy in the world, are going to try to fix in your mind that those were good terrorists and these are bad terrorists. You ain't seen a damn thing. They make all this crap up to keep you in the state of fear. Number 4, supremacy of the military. All these movies, this latest movie, Fury, one of the latest, Fury. What about the American Sniper that jumped from 0 in the ratings all the way up to be given some type of award or at least acknowledgement in the Academy Awards? Rampant sexism, continuously denying women's causes, or forcing women causes on you that they're not getting a fair share. Number 6, control mass media. I don't even need to go there. The biggest lies ever told is when you turn on the news. But they're all in one section. If you turn to, I know it's 107 on Comcast, Al Jazeera. Once you look at the bullcrap on MSNBC and then the CNN, flip over to 107 and listen to the same news and listen to the different spin that they put on it. Then you have number 7, obsession with national security. They're arguing about that right now. They don't want Israel to have an atomic bomb, and they're talking about when Netanyahu comes, they're going to walk out when he gets ready to speak. Yep, let me move this over here. I hear the buzzer going. I get these tapes, not tapes. I get these texts, especially when I'm messing up. People be trying to tell me, Ryan, you got to do better than you're doing. I can't hear you. Or something is wrong. Yeah, I got a lot of them. Yep. So anyway, I'm just going to lay what I got. All of them new. Yep. It says, yep. So, the point I'm trying to make is they're using fascism to promote democracy. They learn how to trick you. They keep telling you they're in a democracy. If you look up the word democracy, the only positive definition of democracy is mob, M-O-B, mob rule. That means that he who has the big stick wins. And you know the police department constantly talks about the firepower they have to shut down any crisis. And when they have one gun in a building, they bring in enough ammunition to knock the whole building down. So, hey. Then you go to number 8. Did I go too fast? Oh, yeah, I jumped too fast. Man, what happened to it? Yeah, I went too fast. Okay, now we're going to, do I have anything here? I got to go. I guess y'all know by now I'm not the heaviest. There we go, number 9. Let me go up here and put a page number down. That might help me. Insert. Yep, give me a second. There we go. Insert page number at the bottom. All right. See what I got here. There we go. Now, we're going to get back to number 8. Okay. Number 8 is religion and government are intertwined. Religion and government are intertwined. Governments in fascist nations tend to use the most common religion in the nation as a tool to manipulate public opinion. I know that's what's next. Yes. Religious rhetoric and terminology is common from government leaders. They love to run the Christian piece, even when the majority tenets of the religion are diametrically opposed to the government's political or policies or actions. That was number 8. We're going to talk about that as soon as I finish here. Number 9, corporate power is protected. They never want to blame any problem on corporate America. It's too close to corporate United States of America. They don't want you to even think that corporations are at fault. They made a big issue 2 days ago that finally Walmart finally put in a $2 raise that is supposed to excite all of the workers and America. They blew it all over the news that they're getting a $2 raise. But they never said that the $2 raise is still $1 under the poverty level. And when they question the female, they love to send them damn female. On a male issue, because we know corporate is CEOs or males, but they sent this female out, and when they asked her or told her that you're still under the poverty level and that you can't eat and sleep with $9 an hour because it's less than $22,000 a year, her comment was, well, it depends on how big your family is. So she started describing a single family, a single person could live off for $9 an hour. But she never got questioned, what about a family of 2, 4, or 6? She didn't go there. Number 10, labor power is suppressed. We haven't heard UAW, AFL-CIO, Teamsters. We haven't heard that word on TV since Obama has been in office. And you're probably sitting there now trying to think to yourself, how the hell do they do that? They know what they're doing. You are the idiot, not them. They know what they're doing. Number 11, disdain for intellectuals and the arts. They bring on idiots to present major scientific programs. They always bring persons that are not qualified to answer. They'll give you credentials such as they have a lollipop degree from Subo University that nobody ever heard of, and they are expert in the field of cyber mechanics or something crazy. And then they begin to tell you something that's a big issue in your lifestyle, and then you sit back and say, oh, yeah, I just heard it on TV. They're going to do this and do that. Number 12, obsession with crime. That speaks for itself. Hands up, don't shoot. I can't breathe. They must always win with crime, regardless of the circumstances. It's already been told, and a lot of people didn't know, that every time they'll tell you that a police officer, when he has a crisis and or an issue, he must write a report. But they don't tell you that that report is a preliminary report. It's almost an account of how did you screw this up, you idiot. The next day or two, they bring in the experts and put the spin. They put the most high spin on the issue to make the police department look like they know what they're doing. And then you sit back and say, we got a good police force. And you saw it at its best in New York, in Ferguson, and in Stockton, Florida. And you're going to try and make it sound like those are isolated police departments. No, they're not. Because every time you kill one, they come from all over the world. So how can they be isolated? Every time a police officer dies, they damn near have a representative from every fraternal order in the United States must show up. Really, really strange. Number 13, rampant cronyism and corruption. That speaks for itself. And last but not least, fraudulent elections. And then our Negro pundits scream every election that we got to turn out to vote. And every time you go out, you know that your vote's not going to make a difference because they don't count. Very strange that we will keep crying for freedom and keep using the same process to get free. It's unbelievable. Okay. Now, I want to talk about Pope Pius. I think I can go there. Nope. Real quick. Where am I at? Time went. 8:30. Beautiful. Types of governments. Governments can be classified into several types. Some of the more common types of governments are: number one, democracy. The word democracy literally means rule by the people. In a democracy, for people governed. That's what it is on paper. That's what the Republic of Plato was about. And that was the process that the Greek government said will never work, because once you put people into the government, which is the government in a democracy, the people govern. No, in a republic, the people govern. Number two, republic. A literal democracy is impossible in a political system containing more than a few people. I just said that. Help me, somebody. All democracies are really republics. In a republic, the people elect representatives to make and enforce laws. That's why I'm pushing for grandma's government. That's the government we want back. Granny's government, when she will appoint a spokesperson to represent her family, which is a republic, you people. Yes. I just talked to my webmaster on break. I'm going to upgrade it to give you the steps so we can build a nation of a republic, quotations, Granny's government. We're going to make it Granny's government. I'm going to hang on to this. Monarchy. A monarchy consists of rule by a king or a queen. Sometimes a king is called an emperor, especially if there is a large empire, such as China before 1911. There are no large monarchies today. The United Kingdom, which has a queen, is really a republic because the queen has virtually no political power. That's a humdinger. Everybody thinks the queen runs the empire, which she really does. But on paper, He does not. Aristocracy. Aristocracy is ruled by aristocrats. Aristocrats are typically wealthy, educated people. Many monarchies have really been ruled by aristocrats. Today, typically the term aristocracy is used negatively to accuse a republic of being dominated by rich people, such as saying the United States has become a aristocracy. Dictatorship. A dictatorship consists of rule by one person or a group of people. Very few dictators admit they are dictators. They almost always claim to be leaders of democracies. And we told you there's no such thing as a democracy. The dictators may be one person, such as Castro in Cuba, or Hitler in Germany, or a group of people, such as the Communist Party in China. Democratic Republic. Number 6. Usually a democratic republic is not democratic or is not a republic. A government that officially calls itself Democratic Republic is usually a dictatorship. United States again. Communism, dictatorships have been especially prone to use this term. For example, the official name of North Vietnam was the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. China used a variant, the People's Republic of China. Those are the major forms of government. And you need to remember democracy and a republic. Okay? Now, let's jump dead in Pope Pius the Ninth. He died in February of 1878. He was succeeded by Pope Leo the 13th. Pius the Ninth was most evil crimes he committed. List of the most evil crimes. Type year crimes of kidnap, false imprisonment of a child. That was in 1858. Now, don't forget these years coincide with 1850, 1870 that I told you were crucial years in U.S. of A. Inc. The Pope Pius the Ninth did support the kidnap and false imprisonment of a 6-year-old Jewish boy, Elgardo, I can't pronounce it, Martyra, taken from his parents by the police of the Papal States because he had been baptized a Christian when he was ill. Pope Pius the Ninth steadfastly refused calls from numerous heads of states, including the Emperor Franz Joseph of Austria, Hungary, and Emperor Napoleon III of France, to return the child to his parents, of establishing an unlawful enterprise for the purpose of crime. 1860, present day CE, Pope Pius the Ninth, in collaboration with other church officials, did recruit both prisoners and known terrorists of the state from southern Italy to form a new unlawful organization. He set up another organization. I see right now I got a caller, but I want to get through this. I'll get to you, caller. Just hold on. Okay? Okay? Because Pope Pius, this is very interesting, because he had something to do with Lincoln and libel codes. and he sanctioned killing. Well, let me read it. Okay. In collaboration with other church officials, did recruit both prisoners and known terrorists of the state from southern Italy to form a new unlawful organization for the purpose of crime known as Cosa Nostra, also known as the Mafia. He created the Mafia, also known as the Sicilian Mafia, for the specific purpose of, 1, disrupting the effective government of a new united Italy with the ultimate goal of seeing the return of a former landholding of the papal states. Try to get some land back. Number 2, obtaining assets and funds by stealth, theft, other illegal enterprises, and other means by way of recompensation for the loss of income through the annulment of the papal states. In other words, he wanted them to pay for the time that they had taken back their land, and he stole it back but wanted them to pay for the lost revenue of that time. Number 3, assisting the government in covert matters and management of special debts, loans, and finances, of publishing false statements. 1864, that Pope Pius IX did publish a number of false statements through the Encyclo Contra Cura and the Syllabus of Errors, in which he condemned some 80 propositions derived from scientific methods and rationalism. Liberalism and socialism are denounced. Liberalism and socialism are denounced. The Pope Pius IX did this through deliberate attempts to introduce conflict and concern toward science, constitutional democracies, here we go, rational thinking, and attempt to thwart the growing common sense secular thinking of the world, of crimes against humanity through destabilizing the spread of human rights and freedom. 1864, that Pope Pius and the Roman Catholic Church did actively work against the spread of democratic values and freedoms, stating publicly in the Papal Bull Quanto Corium. I'm going to highlight that because I'm going back and pull that baby up. And the Syllabus of Errors, their contempt for such values. Furthermore, that Pope Pius IX did specifically attach the American Declaration of Independence and did condemn to hell those who assert liberty of consciousness and religious worship. That because of the active funding of destabilizing forces against the spread of constitutional democracy, the Roman Catholic Church, Church is directly responsible for numerous dictatorships, murder, and misery of hundreds of millions just from 1864 to the present day of crimes against humanity. That Pope Pius IX did plan, coordinate, and deliberately instigate the conditions and actions that directly led to the American Civil War, in particular, the rise of the secessionist movement of wealthy slave owners and the funding of extremists on both sides, the North and the South, on the political successes of Southern President Davis, and in particular on the attacks for Fort Sumter in South Carolina, which started the conflict. I'm going to stop it right there for a minute. Let's take this call and see what this individual's got on his mind. Caller. You're on the line. 6397, area code 313. Yes. Are you there, caller? You don't look like the caller is there. All right. I think this number seems. We're looking at 6397. All right. We got to cut him loose. There we go. That seemed like a truck driver, semi-driver. If he's listening out there, hang up, hit 1 again, and then when it comes up again, I'll come back to you. All right? Let me start right here. That the motivation of the papacy, can't pronounce this, papacy, were not only to sustain its last profitable enterprise of slave trade, but to actively destabilize the largest constitutional democracy in the world. And that goes to Lincoln and the Emancipation Proclamation that so directly involved where the papacy, that ain't right either. In causing the war that President Abraham Lincoln himself did write and say, this war would never have been possible without the sinister influence of the Jesuits. We owe it to popery that we now see our land reddened with the blood of our noblest sons. Though there were great differences of opinions between the North and the South on the question of slavery, neither Jeff Davis nor any one of the leading men of the Confederacy would have dared to attack the North had they not relied on the promise from the Jesuits that under the mask of democracy, the money and the arms of the Roman Catholics, even the arms of France, were at their disposal if they would attack us, said President Lincoln. Furthermore, the direct, man, this is heavy, and constant involvement of Pope Pius IX is also evident in his attempt to prolong the war by pledging support in a letter to the Confederate President Jefferson Davis in 1863, in which the Pope pledged his sympathy to the Southern cause, that there were people loyal to their cause in the North and all around the world, that when this letter was published encouraged support of 1863, it did have a opposite effect, whereby of the 144,000 Irishmen that enlisted, 104,000 went AWOL. Went down too fast. I don't know why I keep doing that. So I'm not going to read all of this, because if you email me, I will send you this report on the inference of the Pope Pius IX into the Civil War to wipe out, and it goes on to say, over 500,000 slaves and people of color were wiped out because of the Pope's interference and support. And they never would have fired on Fort Sumter that started the conflict. And Lincoln went on to say, furthermore, the directive said, and constant involvement of the Pope also evident in his attempt to prolong the war by pledging support in a letter to President Jefferson Davis. When this letter was published in 1863, it did have the opposite effect, because of the 144,000 Irishmen that enlisted, 104,000 deserted after the recognition of the Confederacy by the Pope. That because of the direct and deliberate involvement of the Vatican and the Pope in deliberately destabilizing the United States, the Royal Catholic Church is directly responsible for the death of over 500,000 people, because the Civil War and the ensuing decades of misery and the cost it caused of murder, political suicide, that the Pope did authorize the funding and mission that resulted in the assassination of Lincoln. Lord have mercy. On April 15, 1865, that John Wilkes Booth and other conspirators were recruited, funded, and controlled by their mission, by the Jesuit emissaries of the Pope. That on at least one occasion, there was clear evidence of the connection between the Vatican's involvement when John Wilkes Booth did spend 10 days in October of 1865 in Montreal, and with the Catholic priests, and several days in Toronto in St. Patrick's Hall, an important meeting place for the Irish Catholic Benevolent Union. It is in Canada that it is believed Booth was shown, never given, letters of authority from the Pope himself for the assassination mission, that of the conspirator discovery and arrest. A number of their family did successfully escape through the direct and known assistance of the Roman Catholic priests from Montreal. Woo! Now, the Holy Office, upon the orders of the Pope, did declare on June 20th, 1866, slavery itself, considered as such in its essential nature, is not at all contrary to the natural and divine law. And there can be several just titles of slavery, and these are referred to by approved theologians and commentaries of the sacred canons. God almighty knows. Help me, somebody. Let me see if I can get this truck driver one more time. Yes, caller, you out there? I believe he's just listening. All right. All right, we got another caller right here. Nope. Oh, he just dropped off. Okay. All right. What do we got time-wise? Are we getting close to the top of the hour? Do we have any comments, any callers? The lines are full. Man, oh man, the line. And there we go. All right, here we go. Yes, caller.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
yeah, man. To add to Pope Pius, Pope Pius was the first pope to announce the infallible rule, meaning to get rid of free thought, and that he's pretty much God on earth, and everything that he says, it goes through him. And also, in the Civil War, that was the first drafting system that they produced too at that point in time. You understand?
Wow.
So Pope Pius, So Pope Pius was only pushing out an agenda of that so-called emancipation called a manumitting. Look that word, it's called manumitting. This was the first so-called European.
Yep.
This was the first so-called emancipator European. It's called the first emancipator. His name is Robert Carter III, and he did this in 1791. And he did the first transaction called the gift of deed to the Cumberland County to transfer the slaves under what you call manumitting, which is basically emancipation, transferring the estate of the corporation or the property.
Yes. Manumission. I'm hip to that. I've heard that before.
It's called manumitting. And you look up Robert Carter III, you'll understand. Yeah, look up Robert Carter III, and you will find the connection. What they used with Lincoln is what they did over because they wasn't able to do it in 1791. What they was trying to so-called free the slaves and cause confusion. All they doing is doing the same thing over and over what they doing today. They use a duality of the parties, and they sit back and watch them fight and collect the residue of it.
Yes. And all of our so-called divine leaders are all quiet or ignorant to what's going on. Either way, the masses loses. Man, oh
the
man.
The results are the same.
All right. I appreciate your call, brother. I got another caller coming in, and we get close to the top. Yes, caller, you're on the line.
Hey, Ron, this is your computer guy, Chris. It's been a while. How you been?
Yes, Chris. Yeah, I'm good. I didn't recognize your number. Yep.
I'm calling from the house phone. But anyway, I just want to say a couple quick things. One, the information you gave was pretty fascinating. I was wondering if you had some books I should read to learn more about that, because that's a lot of really good info. And the other thing I was going to say was, doing some research on Ivan van Sertima, in the books he's done about the black European history. I think there was about 6 black popes. So I was just wondering, I'd like to get your comment on the black popes and what they were all about.
Yeah. Well, have you read anything of Amos Wilson? Are you familiar with him?
I've heard the name before. I think I might have some of his books, but I'm not too familiar with him.
Well, go on YouTube and see if you can pull him up. And the reason I'm bringing it up is he denounced all of the known black historians because they were told by the system, if they don't talk about Europe and Africa first, do not bring up America until you get to slavery. So Van Sertima and the other one, the Franklin Hope, all of those guys were catching hell to try and make money because they couldn't get their stuff published or distributed. So they were punished until they would do what they said, what they wanted them to do. Now, I know about the first popes, and I know the years. I have to go back and check the years to see what was going on earth, especially when the white popes came in, and I don't really know. And then you're going back to that area of the mulatto, because between the black popes and the white popes, they had to have the mulattoes. The only reason they got in there was because of the mulattoes. So I don't know. I can't give you any more than that. And every time I search in any area, I find out so much information that it's almost a show or a show and a half just from reading, like what you're telling me. That's a whole show, man, when I go back into that. So I would love for you to do the research and call in, and you and I can do a show, and you can enlighten all of us, because I don't know everything. I just, research, and from what I've lived, I search for what I've lived, and I find this kind of stuff. And then I got a couple of people that call tonight that do some research, and I know you know how to get around on that computer. So I appreciate it if you start doing some research, and you and I can do a show together.
Oh, yeah, I'd be happy to, yeah, sounds good. I'll get on that, and I'll be happy to share whatever I find with you. So, hey, yeah, sounds good.
Let's do that. And I'm about ready to go off. They're talking about my time is up. I'm on 2 different programs. I don't know which one is kicking me off. I got one that says 2 minutes, and the other one, I don't know what it says yet. But anyway, let me get back with you, Chris, and we'll talk about it, okay?
Okay, thanks, Ron. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
All righty.
All right. Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the top. I'm checking out all of my guests. I appreciate you in the chat room. I hope you have learned something. I hope you'll look at it. Next week, maybe you want to type in something that you might want me to do for you. If anyone wants any research from today's show, email me, ronmarchshow@yahoo.com, and I will send it to you. Gladly send you the information. So until next week, tomorrow, I'm doing the Beverly D Show, and that's going to be, again, on birth certificates. So let's call in, and we're going to start with 1928. So y'all better get ready to get in here. So until next time, I'm out of here. And let's play a little music going out while if we can.